Ready? Tansei, okay, bozu, hello everybody. It has been, whew, it's been a heavy and hectic several weeks. And so I really haven't been doing very many live streams. Last week I was moving, so I do apologize if you tried to tune in and there was nothing there. Yes, so moving takes a lot out of you. It was pretty exhausting. It was really hot. It was like 36 degrees here, which for my cousins and my family and my friends in the States is like 96, 97 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. But also there's been a lot of news coming out regarding a lot of the unmarked graves of our ancestors, of our past generations that have been found. And so it's been it's been weighing quite heavily on me. Personally, I deal with Canada Day and then the 4th of July as well, being celebrated by some and mourned by others. There's been a lot of, I've been seeing all sides of the situation. And I know personally, I used both of those days as days of education and reflection. So I went into different communities that never really had access to Indigenous people, even though they're all around. It's just they haven't built up those connections, to build those connections, to say these are the people in your community, this is the information, this is how we can do it in a gentle way, this is how you can be a good ally, and really offer resources, because I think that is hugely important, because I think we have this sense of collective grief and this collected need to connect to each other and to understand and to heal and to make reparations for everything that's happened. And when we see those stark things that are happening and those dark things that are coming into focus, you can't ignore those things anymore. And for those that have tried to put their head in the sand, it's almost impossible to do so now. You're starting to really see the impacts, not only of residential school, but how institutionalized racism is embedded within so many of our systems, and this is something that we need to address, and we can't address it with anger, because anger doesn't really do anything, but we have to address it with understanding and with kindness and with compassion, and with empathy. So that's really been my goal, is to share those things not on a large scale, but with smaller groups, with smaller communities. And so that's kind of where I've been. So if you're wondering why I haven't been at some of like the bigger events, that's why I've been doing a lot more stuff online, and in smaller communities. But I just wanted to start today, of course, by acknowledging the land upon which we stand, which I live here in Treaty 7 territory in Mohkinstsis, which is known now as Calgary, but it's always been known as Mohkinstsis. And this is the place that I call home, and I'm so thankful to be here. I'm so humbled to be here. There is an energy here, and a spirit here, and a sense of community and belonging that I'd never really experienced when I was back home on my reserve, but I'm hoping now that I've built those foundations here, I can bring those tools and those teachings back to the reserve. I know this month is going to be really hard for our res, because we're going to be digging up one of the residential schools that is pretty close by to us, and we know we have family there. We know there's other residential schools that we have family there too, and so it's going to be very, very emotional and very, very hard, and I think we just need to take care of each other. And I honor the people here who are doing the same thing. I honor our brothers and sisters from the Blackfoot nations of Siksika, Kainai, and Pagani. I honor the Beaver people, or the Sursi Dene of Tsutsuna. I honor the Stoney Nakoda of Morley, which includes Chiniki, Bearispaw, and Wesley First Nations. I've been on this land, for half of my life at least, and I feel so deeply connected to the families here, to the elders that I've learned from, the knowledge keepers, to my friends here, and I just want to support them in any way I can. And I want to support my family on reserve in any way I can. So I'll probably be doing a lot of back and forth between here and Saskatchewan. this year, but I honor my family out in Muskeg Lake, and I know a lot of my family have kind of moved off, but have gone back and forth. I also honor Métis Region 3, which is the footsteps that we're walking in right now, which is why I proudly wear my Métis sash to act as that bridge between Indigenous and non-Indigenous culture. This Métis sash was gifted to me from my elder, Kelly Good Eagle, who is Blackfoot of Siksika. And so whenever I wear it, I really think of him and I keep him in my prayers and in my heart. And it really shows that, you know, our compassion can transcend boundaries. The work that we do can transcend nations, and it's so important to honor that. And so to welcome everyone into the circle today, I wanted to share the Cree Welcome Song. This song is from the Natahau family from Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation in Saskatchewan, which is in Treaty 6 territory, my territory, and it's on the border of Alberta and Saskatchewan actually, so it's both. I know I always say Saskatchewan, but it's both. And I honor that family for keeping this song alive. And the spirit and the story of the song is so beautiful because it is about connecting everyone. It's about honoring everybody on their journey and really respecting, and everybody has different gifts that we bring to the table. Because of course, if everybody was exactly the same, the world would be incredibly boring and nothing would get done. We'd just all be farmers and I would kill a lot of plants. Just kidding. I talk to plants, but I'm not very good at growing them in my garden. I kind of go away and I'm pretty neglectful. But this is why I love wild plants, because they just do their thing and then you can go and get them later with like an honor and a relationship to them. But it's like those friends that you just pop into their lives every so often. You're like, ah, and it's great. And then you just drift apart, but then you come back together, you know, a year later, and it's you start back up from where you began. So it's the plants are the same way. Wild plants are the same way. And so I honor that family for really keeping this song alive and that spirit of this song, which is of connection. It's really about acknowledging everybody in the circle and how we're all connected. When we sing this song, we sing in rounds of 4, or no, we sing in rounds of 3 to keep the circle open and welcoming so everyone completes the circle today. Because again, in a circle, we're all connected. There's no beginning, there's no end. No one is greater or less than anyone else in the circle, just like in the hoop of life. So it teaches us to honor each other for those differences. Because that's what makes the community in the circle strong and resilient. It's those differences and what we can learn from each other and how we can grow together, because that's what forges the path ahead for all of our future generations. The Natahau family knew that, and this is why they kept that song alive. They kept the story alive. And it's so important because for so many generations we couldn't. We couldn't share our songs, we couldn't share our stories, we couldn't speak our languages, we couldn't wear our regalia, which includes like my beautiful ribbon skirt which I'm wearing. We couldn't practice our traditional medicines or ceremonies or anything, but everything had to go underground. And if it wasn't for the resilience of those families who have kept those stories and those songs and those medicines alive, you know, we wouldn't be here. And so I acknowledge that, and I acknowledge that family. And I also acknowledge where we are and what we've gone through to get here. And I think sometimes we forget about that. I'm not going to stand up to sing today because I have messed up my knee, and in turn my hip has really started to flare up as well. So I'm going to be sitting and singing today. I don't know how the drumming and singing is going to go, but we'll see how it goes. But Mia Sin, which is the Cree welcome song, it doesn't just mean welcome. It also means beautiful. Mia Sin, Mia Sin, Hasemina, Hasemina, Epetakote, Niwagomagan, Hota, Homa, Kitaskino, Miasen, Miasen, Hasemina, Hasemina, Epetakote. Mia Sem Ha Semina Ha Semina E Peta Kote Niwagomagan Hota Homa Kitaskino. Hi, and welcome to the circle today, everybody. I'm gonna have a sip of water. It's pretty warm in my house, but I'm just thankful to be here, to be in my new home, and to have everything moved over, and to know that we have so many wonderful people in the community that helped and really helped us settle in. So I'm just so grateful to have so many wonderful people and allies and incredible people in our community. But I wanted to start with a smudge today. I know we started a little late, so but all right. I'm going to take off my earrings before I smudge and before I prepare the medicines. Because of course we wouldn't be plain before Creator. And again, those are just my teachings. When I share my teachings, of course, you can only share what you know. And so, this is my smudge bowl. We have the bowl itself, which represents water because it holds everything together. All 4 elements are in the smudge bowl. We have the medicine which goes in, which represents earth. When we let it on fire, it represents fire, and the smoke going up represents air. But even though I'm not using all of my medicines today, I always lay out all of my medicines, even if they're just on the couch. Again, we're unpacking, so there's, I can't wait to have my whole area set up so I actually have a smudge table, but I'm gonna make do for now. And so I'm gonna start in the east, and on my medicine wheel in the east we have sweetgrass. Smells so good. Sweetgrass being our connection to Grandfather Sun, who rises in the east every morning. It's also a connection to, of course, the morning, and then the springtime, because that's when Grandfather Sun comes back to the earth. It's our childhood, because that's when we start our lives. And it's our mind, because when we're kids, we actually learn a lot. So this is a great thing. But it teaches us how to make good decisions. The braid has 7 blades of sweetgrass in each section of it to represent the 7 generations. Whenever we make decisions, we have to think 7 generations behind. What did my ancestors do to bring me here? What kind of hardships did they have to endure? What did they survive? What did they go through? And am I acknowledging and honoring and respecting everything that they've gone through and all that they've left for me, those teachings, and that foundation that they've laid for me by the decisions that I'm making this day? And then we think 7 generations forward, what am I doing to leave a better world for my future generations? Those 7 generations forward, because we're somebody's ancestor, and we have to remember that. We have to act accordingly. And are we leaving a mess for them to clean up, or are we leaving a better world for them? And I think if we make decisions like that, we make way better decisions. And so whenever I go to make a big decision, when, for example, choosing this home, I smudged over it before I went ahead. So, and I smudged with sweetgrass. But I knew that this was the path for us. And then I'm going to the south. And again, these are just my teachings. If you know other teachings, I encourage people to learn from many different elders and knowledge keepers from any different nations. And yes, Glenda, I'm still here in Calgary. I'm still here in Mohkinstsis. But this is lovely cedar, and cedar I use for so many different things, and I am so blessed because the place that we just moved into has cedar. And so you have no idea how excited I was when I walked into the backyard and I saw the cedar, and I'm like, oh, this might be our home. But yes, cedar is our connection to our physical body. It's our connection to our adolescence, because that's when we go through the most physical changes. It's such a wonderful healing medicine because it's antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral. It cleans the air. You can put it in potpourri and it actually cleans the air in your house. It kind of smells a little pine salty when you're boiling it on the stove, but You can have it in tea. It's good for like sore throats and congestion. It's an antihistamine as well. So I use it for a lot of different things. But also what's really amazing about it is if you boil it and put it in your bath, it's really good for like sore muscles, aches and pains. It's great for your skin. If you have fibromyalgia, it's phenomenal for really just loosening up those nodules and helping everything flow a little bit better. So I swear by it. I use it a lot. And it's really good for grounding too when you put it in fire. So yeah, and that's in the south. That's our connection to our physical body. It's our connection to the physical earth, and it reminds us of the relationship that we have with nature. We have in the west women's medicine, which is connected to water, because of course we have fire in the east, we have water in the west, and that is our connection to our adult years. It's our connection to grandmother moon, because of course grandmother moon cycles the tides, and our emotions, because our emotions are liquid. This is why we leak from our face when we cry. So this is beautiful, beautiful sage. I can't wait to go sage picking again this year. Super exciting. But sage is really about honoring our emotions. It's about honoring our heart medicine and honoring the relationships that we have, but also honoring ourselves as women. Remembering that we're a balance of masculine and feminine energy as well. Every person has that balance. And when we look and honor two-spirit people in our nations, it's because they have that outward balance. So I myself am a two-spirit woman. I carry women's teachings, but I also carry men's teachings. And it's a gift to be able to do that. And so I honor that. So because I'm Cree, I actually use a lot of sage. So this is what we are using today. We're going to be smudging with sage. And then the last medicine that we have in the north is tobacco. I have this beautiful tobacco that was gifted to me. And it smells really, really good. It smells really smoky. But tobacco is a spirit medicine, so it's like all of the other medicines can be used for different aspects. You can have it in tea, you can eat them, you can drink them, you can smoke them. But tobacco, you don't. Tobacco is a symbolic medicine. It shows about the power of faith. It's when we gift it to someone, we say thank you from our spirit to their spirit. We honor an elder or an knowledge keeper or a drummer or a singer by gifting them tobacco, saying thank you for keeping these stories and these songs of your ancestors alive, or those teachings alive, and for sharing them from your spirit. And so when we use tobacco in ceremony, we're not actually breathing it in, we're smudging with it, and we're being present with it, but we're never breathing it in, because it is a spirit medicine. And it's connected to the winter, which is the time of quiet reflection. And it reminds us, even though, it might look dead, like everything underground might look dead because, of that stillness, of that coldness, in the springtime it comes back. So it reminds us of the hope that we need to carry through the winter. But if we're in a ceremony where we actually need to use 4 directions of the medicines, we'll use this instead, which is Concessa, red willow bark, which is, it's actually an anti-inflammatory. It's good for clotting on the outside of your body and good for thinning your blood on the inside of your body. So it's good for high cholesterol or high blood pressure. So yeah, but you could just have it in tea daily for that maintenance of your body. I use it whenever I have start to flare up of a migraine. So I used to get migraines all the time because it's Calgary and the weather changes so fast. And so you're like, oh my gosh, my brain is having a hard time keeping up. But as soon as I discovered that I could put Concessa in my tea, as soon as I start to feel a migraine coming on, I just have a little bit, and I actually haven't had a migraine in over a decade. So I swear by it. It's awesome stuff. And it's the same stuff in aspirin, but more absorbable in your body, which is good. So this is lovely Concessa, or red willow bark. Some people can find it as dogwood, but I don't know, to me it's just red willow. And so those are all 4 directions, all 4 medicines. And today, again, we're only using sage because I'm Cree. And that is that community medicine. And I'm going to light it with a match. I don't usually light things with lighters just because we're not meant to have those underground gases. They're supposed to stay there. So to honor and respect that connection to the earth, we stay there. Whereas sulfur can be found on the surface. It actually comes out of the earth. If you're patient enough, I should say. So the first thing I like to do, and there's no right or wrong way to smudge. It's whatever feels good to you. I'm actually going to put it in my lap so I don't have to turn, because I was turning awkwardly. But I bang with my hand and never blow on it, because your breath is your life and your life is precious and you don't waste that for anybody. First thing I do, I just clean my hands so that anything I'm carrying I get rid of. And I bring it over my body 4 times to honor the 4 directions in my body. And I'm going to smudge my mind so I can think clearly and learn from every person that crosses my path. So I can remember to be open-minded and never rigid with my thinking. I'm smudging my ears so I can remember to listen twice as much as I speak. This is why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And also so I can be open to hear all of the messages that Creator sends me and hear all of the beauty. But to listen to the things that sometimes you can't necessarily hear here. So the plants have messages for us that they share. But you can't hear them necessarily, but you can hear them. And the birds you can definitely hear. Smudge my eyes so I can see clearly, see all of the beauty that surrounds me. To remember to open my eyes to not only the seen but the unseen. I'm very thankful for my vision this lifetime. Oh, there we go. So I was in my car when it was raining outside because I decided not to bring it out of the car when I was in a protest in the rain, so it was very, very wet. I smudge my nose so I can smell danger and nature and cookies, but to honor all of my senses as they are. Smudge my mouth so I can speak only true and kind words that are helpful, gentle, kind, compassionate. I always ask myself, is it truthful? Is it helpful? Is it kind? Is it respectful? If it's none of those things, don't say it, don't do it. Pretty good rule. I smudge my throat because I'm very thankful for my voice this lifetime, because I continue to give voice to the voiceless. And also to honor my own voice and my own name. I'm going to smudge my lungs so I breathe good clean air and to remind myself of the sacred breath that we all share, which connects each and every one of us. Smudge my heart so I remember to be kind and compassionate and show unconditional love to all those around me, to my family, to my friends, to people in my community, to people around the world, to all my relations, and to ourselves. Sometimes we forget to really take care of ourselves, and if you don't take care of yourself, how are you supposed to take care of others? Smudge my stomach so all of the food that I eat this day will nourish my body. Smudge my belly button because that's where our spirit is. That's where we're connected before we come into this world. So it's honoring our connection to spirit and to our ancestors, past, present, and future. Smudge my womanhood because I'm very thankful to be a woman and a mother in this time. You know, I'm a two-spirit woman. I carry both masculine and feminine teachings. I honor the body I'm in and the children that I do have. I smudge my arms and my hands so I can do the good work that Creator's put me here to do. I smudge my shoulders and my back so I can carry all of the responsibilities that Creator's gifted me with grace and humility. I smudge my legs so I can walk this red road in a good way. I smudge my feet so I stay grounded and connected to Mother Earth, treading lightly upon her and honoring her with every step. And then if there's anywhere else you need a little extra love, like I have been moving a lot and unpacking a lot. So my shoulders and my neck and my back, I'm gonna give them a little extra love, a little extra healing. And it's amazing the difference that smudging makes. If you're stressed out, smudge, because you feel a million times better. So I'm gonna smudge my hips, because they're giving me a hard time. Sweet pine, where that comes on. I love it just when random medicines show up in my lap and I'm like, oh, I guess I need to use you. Okay. And then I'm going to smudge my knee so that it heals a little bit faster. Never had problems with my knee until recently. Of course, it was right before I started to move. And then if there's anyone in your life that you want to send that healing to, that love, that appreciation to, maybe they're just in their mind, in your mind, in your heart, or in your prayers, just hold them there and send them that love, that appreciation, that healing. I send healing to the people who are really struggling with lateral violence. We don't need that right now. We need each other. And then when you're done, you say "Makwitch" or "Hi hi" or "Merci" or "Gracia" or "Shie shie" or "Dankeschön" or however you say thank you in your language. And I'm just going to move my medicines off the couch here. There we are. And you'll probably still see smoke swirling across, but that's okay. And I wanted to share the healing song just because it is such an important song. And this is also called the crying song. Oops. There we go. Or the wailing song. I'm borrowing my son's webcam right now because mine, of course, is in a box somewhere. But this song was, it's a Cree song, and it's funny because other nations have heard this song and like, no, I know this song, because I feel like everyone knows it. It's in their core, it's in their heart, it's in their spirits, it connects us. And so this song, in it you can hear the tears, which is why it's called the crying song or the wailing song. And it's done in a heartbeat, because that heartbeat is that women's beat, it's that ceremony beat, it's that healing beat that connects each and every one of us. And so it's a gift to be able to share that. This song was a ceremony song for the longest time, but elders have said now is the time to come together for true healing of all nations, of, you know, not only the two-leggeds, but of, you know, the plants and the animals, of the four-leggeds, of the standing people, which are the trees, of the flyers, which are the birds, of the crawlers, which are the bugs, but of the swimmers, and all of our nations need to come together for healing, because we need each other. And this is something I think we're very short-sighted on. We don't realize how much we rely on or are so dependent on other creatures in our nations, and the plants and the animals. We view them as objects, but they're not objects, they're family. And as soon as we start viewing them as such, I think our worldview will change. But the healing song is really, it's such an integral part of healing for all people. And so it's such a gift to be able to share it. And I've had many different elders share it with me. And many elders have said, yes, it's the time. It's the time that we need to share it. And we need those miracles to occur. And we need to, you know, honor that connection that we have to each other, and how healing together is better than healing alone. It's stronger than healing alone, for sure. Just like when we come together and we sing and we drum together, it's so powerful. There's strength and this ancestral wisdom that connects all of us, no matter what nations we're from, because we are all one, we're all family. And so that's really what this song feels like when we sing it all together. And so this is the healing song, the crying song, or the wailing song. And when we sing it, of course, we sing it in 4 rounds, but the 3rd round, we actually stop drumming. And in that round, we invite you to ask for the things in your life that you need healing with, whether it be you know, for yourself, whether it be for people that you know are hurting and suffering right now, whether it be for family or for friends or pets, or people around the world that are really going through a lot, the nations that we keep finding, you know, the families of our children that are buried, those families that are finally getting that truth. That the truth is painful sometimes, it hurts, but if we don't have it, then you can't heal fully. And so it's really about honoring that truth and that healing that comes from truth as well. And so this is the healing song. I'm going to have a quick sip of water first though. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Way high, way high, way high, yo. Way high, way high, way high, yo. Way high, way high, yo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Way high, way high, way high, yo. Way high, way high, way high, yo. Way high, way high, yo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Way high, way high, way high, yo. Way high, way high, way high, yo. Way high, way high, yo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Way high, way high, way high, yo. Way high, way high, way high, yo. Way high, way high, yo. Pardon me. So I wanted to share the Strong Women song, because I know that there's a lot of strong women that are on the front lines that are really picking up the pieces of much of their community that are going through a lot right now. And so I wanted to dedicate that to them. And I also wanted to share the Women's Warrior song, which is from the from the West Coast. And so to really honor all that those families are going through. And also just to honor all of those strong women and those strong people who are working together on the front lines to really bring compassion and healing to our communities. And because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because you feel like you're doing an uphill battle, but just to look back and see all of the changes that have happened even in the last 10 years, it's incredible. And so this is the Strong Woman song. Also a heartbeat, which is that women's beat. Way ya, way ya, hey yo. Way ya, way ya, hey yo. Way ya, hey hi yo. Way ya, oh way ya. be known as the Turtle Song, and it's an OG Cree song, actually. And the turtle is it's Turtle Island, right? It's our beautiful Mother Earth. It's represents the 13 moons in a year, so it's also, you know, our beautiful grandmother moon. And so this is why it became a strong woman song, is because it does represent the woman fully and completely in the sacredness of being a woman, the strength of being a woman, and the gifts that Mother Earth continues to give us, the gifts that Grandmother Moon continues to give us. And so that was the strong woman song. So this next song is, it's a sailor song, and so I'm very thankful to the women who have brought it forward, the people who continue to share it. There's such strength in this song, and it's the women's warrior song. And so it teaches us that to be a warrior, you don't necessarily have to be on the front lines. A warrior is someone who stands up for what's right in their community. It's someone who picks up the pieces when you know, something happens, who steps into those roles that aren't necessarily their responsibility, but they know that who else is going to do it? So they step in. They raise other people's children. They raise their nieces and nephews and their grandbabies because they have had, you know, family members taken from them. And so those are truly what warriors are. They're those spirits who never stop and who just continue to share, you know, their truth and strive for justice within their communities, strive for justice within their families, and to share that truth with so many other nations. And we're starting to really see all of that work start to come to fruition now. And it's a hard journey, but those warriors have never stopped. And that's what a warrior truly is. It's someone who never stops. And so this is the Women's Warrior Song. And I'm singing it to honor all of those beautiful little warrior spirits that they have found, and all of the families who are picking up those pieces and have continued to do so for generations. I also wanted to share the mother song, and then I'm going to share probably the creator songs. So the mother song is a song that I had learned for my friend Lacey. We did a song exchange, and I think that's really important, to be able to exchange songs and to keep that energy flowing, to keep that energy moving. We have protocol in our culture where you give something. You don't just take and take and take, because then there's going to be nothing left. But it's the same thing that when we go to pick any of our traditional medicines, we always lay tobacco down, or we give something back to the earth before we take it. And it's the same thing with the gifts of knowledge. You always have to give something in return. And that's what protocol should be. That's what protocol is. I always give my energy freely and completely, but good things happen. You know, that energy comes to me in other ways, and I just have to have faith when I put it out there that it's going to come back in a good way. And so this song is I'm really thankful that it was shared with me because it was so meaningful for me as a mother, as someone who feels like I'm nurturing my community a lot of the time, and I work with youth all the time, but I also know that I have broken that cycle of intergenerational trauma with my own kids. Yeah, within our own families that have that legacy of the residential school was kind of thrust on us, and it wasn't our responsibility to carry that legacy forward. And so it was important for me to break that legacy with my own children. And so this song really reminds us of that. It reminds us of that strength of our mothers and our strength of the people who are breaking those cycles of generational trauma that have lived through so much. And so when we sing it, we honor those mothers that have lost their children. Because in the residential school, that was a big thing. You know, your kids, you weren't sure if they were going to come home. You didn't have a choice. They were torn away from you. And even if you tried to get them back, you would get thrown in jail. And so, of course, they would just be taken anyway. So you really had no choice in the matter. It was really detrimental to families and to structures and to the way that we rear our children. It took kids away from that sense of belonging and that sense of being and that sense of importance to, you know, being a faceless number that didn't really matter. And so when we sing this song, we honor those mothers who have tried, you know, to keep their children's memories alive, to keep, you know, that, sorry, I have a really hard time with it. That kept on in spite of, you know, having that ability taken away from them. And it wasn't just in the residential school system. It was with the 60s scoop when our children were taken from us. It continues to this day with the foster care system, with our children being taken away from us. And in fact, my girls were in the foster care system and they're finally out, and this is why I'm doing kinship care for them. But they're my family, and to feel that sense of belonging and that sense of appreciation and love and unconditional love, that's truly what our families give. And that's really, in this song, you can hear that mother calling out and saying, you know, no matter how far you go, I love you. No matter how far and how hurt you are, know that you have a place in my heart, and I'm praying for your healing. And so this is really what I hear in this song, is that mother calling out, and that anguish of just losing your child, or as your child drifts further and further away from you. It's heartbreaking, but to know that you're always going to be there for them no matter what, that's important. And so this is the mother song. Somebody had sent it to me actually on YouTube as the wildflower song, and I guess, you know, our roots need to grow somehow. So this is the mother song. ya, ho. Hey, hey, ya, hey, ya, hey, ya, yo. Hey, hey, ya, hey, ya, hey, ya, yo. 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 Hey, ya, hey, ya, hey, ya, ho. Hey, ya. Hey ya, hey ya, yo. Hey ya, hey ya, yo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, yo. Hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, yo. Hey ya, hey ya, yo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Hey, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, yo. Oh, hey, hey, ya, hey, ya, hey, ya, yo. 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 Hey, ya, hey, ya, hey, ya, oh. Hey, ya. Way ya, hey ya, yo. Way ya, hey ya, yo. Way ya, hey ya, hey ya, oh. So I'm going to share the creator song. This is a Cree song, and I was so thankful when the song was shared with me, because my friend Night Sun, who shared it with me, I did some work on their album, so it was awesome to be able to just kind of create together. So that was beautiful. And then when she shared the song with me, it resonated with me. I learned it so quickly, and I'm like, this song really, it had a special significance, and I didn't quite know why. But then I brought it to visit my great aunt, and I love to drum and sing for her. And so I was drumming and singing this song, and she started singing with me. And I'm like, Auntie, how do you know this song? And she's like, how do you know this song? This is our family song. Where did you find it? And I was just so overcome with joy, like just that joy that makes you want to cry, that kind of joy, because it really showed that I was on the right path. You know, I'm doing the right things to bring back, you know, the teachings of my family and the teachings of my nation and the songs and stories of my nation. And I know that that journey is going to lead me down to many medicines that I'll be introduced to over the next year. I can feel it. And it's funny how sometimes you just feel things, and sometimes things just line up. And even yesterday, I went down to ATB to take down my art piece, which was my giant tree. It's a rawhide tree I used traditional medicines in with it to create that piece. And it always evolves, because every time I've set it up, I've gone harvesting for those medicines to be able to set it up in a good way. And I had this, of course, big box full of medicines, and I went to visit my cousin, who I hadn't seen for a decade, so it was really beautiful to see her. And she was like, "Oh, I'm going out to the Sundance," and I was like, "Oh, do you need medicines?" And I just happened to have a car full of medicines, so it really did work out, and it was perfect. I say everything happens for a reason, and sometimes you're never quite sure of that reason until it just smacks you in the face. But it's the same thing when songs come to me or through me. I just feel like they're there for a reason. They're there for a purpose, and I'm very thankful and humbled every time I'm able to share. And so this is the creator song. It just reminds us of that sacred breath that we all share, all of our relations, you know, the plants and the trees and all of the people, everyone, we're related. And that sacred breath that we all share is all around us. And so if you're never quite sure, you just need a moment, just take a deep, deep breath and connect to nature. Go out, put your feet in the grass. Unless it's winter, then don't do that because it's cold. But you know, just hug a tree, because it's actually scientific proven that if you hug a tree, it lowers your blood pressure, and it just grounds your energy. It calms you down. So this is such a beautiful thing. So this is the creator song.
Espeme ko tawino, gize koko tawino, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo. Weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo. Dice coco tawino, es que me cotawino, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo. Weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo. Es me cotawino, ize cocotawino, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo. Weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo. Espeme cotawino, ize cocotawino, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo. Weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo ha weyo, weyo heyo tawino.
Hi, so I want to share one last song just to send you on your way for the week. Next week, I'm hoping I can get the internet stuff working. I'm actually going to be doing a plug and play at a park, so hopefully I can do it at the same time, so you guys can like see me in the sunshine, hanging out with a whole bunch of people. Hopefully sunshine, hopefully sunshine. And I probably will bring along my laptop and see if I can get that to work, and if not, then I will just try and do a broadcast another time. So yeah, miigwech everybody, thank you for your patience while I was moving and not doing my live stream that day, but you know, everything happens for a reason, so I think I just needed that break. Also, by the time I realized that my live stream was over and done with, we were already like in the throes of packing boxes in the back of my vehicle. So but this song that I want to share with you is the Thunderbird song. The Thunderbird has been on my mind so much lately, not only because of the glorious storms that have been happening, but my name is she who dances and sings with spirits in the storm. And so I love storms. There's something just incredibly healing and empowering about them for me. And so when I sing this song, I really I think a lot about that, and a lot about what a storm is. And a storm is it's strength. It's just raw power, but it's a whole bunch of elements coming together to form one entire breathing, living being, which would be the Thunderbird. Because the Thunderbird, she has so much strength, but she pushes us forward. She's like fate or destiny, that thing that guides us on our path. But she also reminds us to really honor our ancestors. And so she helps amplify the voice of our ancestors, you know, through her little nudges, through our intuition, because our intuition is never wrong. It's that internal Thunderbird going, go, 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 or don't do that. And whenever we ignore it, we get into trouble. And but the Thunderbird really teaches us that everything happens for a reason. And even though some things might be really, really hard and really painful and really difficult, they do happen for healing, and they do happen for a reason. And once we get through them, we can get through anything. I mean, it's really the Thunderbird's way of giving us strength on our path, but also it reminds us to listen to the Thunderbird, because if we're making the same mistakes over and over and over again, eventually the Thunderbird's just going to get fed up with us and kick us in the butt and put us on the right path, which is exactly what the Thunderbird did, not so subtly, with the truck with me. And so don't get hit by a truck. Just listen to your internal Thunderbird and go on the right path. But yeah, so this is the Thunderbird song. Son's poking his head over the rail. That's my eldest son. He's 23 years old. It's weird. So this is the Thunderbird song. Thunderbird also teaches us not to take ourselves too seriously. Hi everyone for joining me this week. And I know I started late, but I ended late too, so it worked out. And hopefully I'll be back next week if I can get the laptop and stuff like that working in the park. And if not, then I will see you later on in the week. So hi everyone. Miigwech, please take care of each other and really reach out to your strong friends, because your strong friends probably need a hug too. I know sometimes as one of those strong people, sometimes I don't ask for the help that I do need. But when I do, people show up, which is awesome. So don't forget to ask. But miigwech everyone, and thank you again for all the people who helped me move this week and last week. And yeah, just thank you. Thank you to the people in our community that are supporting each other. Thank you to the allies. Thank you to all of the Indigenous people that are going through so much, but still have that patience and perseverance to keep going forward, to keep moving on, and to keep sharing the truth about what has happened, and to really strive for healing and strive for justice, because that's what we need. So, hi everyone, Chinquit, and we will see you next week.